A shift in Italian economic policy, Meloni's Eastern pivot. The political and economic landscape of the European Union, EU, is undergoing significant changes as Italy, under Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, reconsiders its relationship with China and its position within the EU. This shift comes at a time when Brussels is heavily targeting Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, and a broader revolution appears to be spreading across EU countries. The EU, often criticized for being steered by powerful financial interests from the City of London and the United States, is facing a growing backlash. In light of this, countries like Italy and Hungary are increasingly looking east, towards potential partnerships with organizations such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, and BRICS. This essay explores Meloni's economic policies, the EU's internal challenges, and the potential for new alliances that could reshape the geopolitical landscape. Meloni's economic policy, a stand against EU technocracy. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has made it clear that Italy will no longer be subservient to the EU's technocrats, whom she perceives as corrupt and self-serving. This stance is part of a broader dissatisfaction with EU leadership, particularly European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who is viewed by some as a clear present danger to the sovereignty of European nations. Meloni's administration is pushing back against policies perceived as detrimental to Italy's national interests and economic well-being. One of Meloni's key moves has been to strengthen economic ties with China. This is a significant departure from the EU's cautious and often adversarial stance towards China. Meloni's approach aligns with a broader trend of looking east, inspired by leaders like Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has successfully balanced relationships with both Western and Eastern powers. By engaging with China, Italy hopes to benefit from economic opportunities that the EU's restrictive policies have hindered. The EU's internal struggles and external pressures. The EU is currently grappling with internal divisions and external pressures that threaten its cohesion. The bloc's policies, often influenced by powerful financial interests in the City of London and the United States, have been criticized for stifling competition and imposing undue burdens on member states. The influence of financial elites, such as the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, is seen by some as a driving force behind the EU's unpopular policies. These policies are believed to be designed to maintain control and suppress emerging competitors, particularly the BRICS nations. Hungary, under Viktor Orbán, has been a vocal critic of the EU's centralized control and has pursued policies that prioritize national sovereignty. Italy's shift under Meloni represents a similar trend, suggesting a growing resistance against Brussels' technocratic governance. This resistance is seen as a wake-up call for the EU, signaling that member states are no longer willing to be pawns in a larger geopolitical game orchestrated by distant elites. A new direction, eastward alliances and economic partnerships. As Italy and Hungary chart a new course, they are increasingly looking towards the east. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, and BRICS represent viable alternatives to the EU's economic model. These organizations offer a platform for collaboration that is less encumbered by the political and economic constraints imposed by Western-dominated institutions. Italy's potential partnership with Chinese automaker BYD and the Fiat Group is an example of this new direction. Such a partnership could drive innovation and economic growth, offering a counterbalance to the EU's stagnating policies. Additionally, by aligning with BRICS, Italy could gain access to new markets and investment opportunities, further strengthening its economic position. The hypocrisy of EU's China policy. The EU's stance towards China has been marked by hypocrisy. On one hand, European leaders criticize China and implement policies that restrict economic engagement. On the other hand, the same financial interests that dominate EU policy have played a significant role in China's economic rise. This duality underscores the complex and often contradictory nature of global economic relations. Meloni's pragmatic approach recognizes the potential benefits of engaging with China while challenging the EU's narrative. By doing so, Italy positions itself as a nation willing to pursue its own interests, rather than blindly following a path dictated by external powers. Conclusion. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's shift in economic policy marks a significant moment for Italy and the EU. By rejecting the EU's technocratic control and looking east towards new alliances, Italy is paving the way for a more independent and dynamic economic future. This movement, echoed by Hungary and other discontented EU members, suggests that the EU must undergo significant reforms to remain relevant and effective. The EU's current trajectory, influenced by powerful financial elites, risks alienating its member states and driving them towards alternative alliances. To avoid becoming a sinking boat, the EU must address these internal divisions and reconsider its policies. Only by embracing a more inclusive and flexible approach can the EU hope to maintain its unity and global influence in an increasingly multipolar world.